You're killing me this morning. Good morning, everybody. It's me, San Martin of the Prescott Times, and we actually have a special broadcast today. And hopefully, we don't mess up. But at the same time, stay tuned. We're getting ready to start this show, and you don't want to miss it.
Welcome to the 863 Morning Show with your hosts, San Martin Rodriguez and Eric Knight.
And we are in. Okay, so these guys were killing me this morning. I guess PCHP is not the ticket. Eric says that we're going to take a bat to this, and then yeah. Good morning, Tom. Okay, so guys, as you know, we have a special broadcast today. We are definitely wanting to go ahead and get involved with what's happening in Prescott, Arizona, and the elections that are happening. Ideally, we don't really talk about politics here, but at the same time, this is about Prescott, Arizona, and the candidates that are running. We ended up getting an email yesterday by Tom, through Tom, and it was stating a bunch of facts and things that are happening with our local elections, and we want to talk about it this morning. And without further ado, wait, do you want to talk about what day it is?
Yeah, it's chocolate and almonds.
Yeah, can you talk about what was yesterday too? Because we missed that one.
Missed that one too?
Yeah,
killing me.
I know.
What was yesterday? Wednesday? It was macaroni day.
Okay, macaroni. You gotta have to fill it all up in one day, guys. And what was the other one?
Chocolate and almonds.
Chocolate, almonds, Okay, we're
chocolate
in.
with almonds day.
Yes, yeah. Make sure you go out there and check it out. And without further ado, Tom, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. It's a good segment, Tom.
Oh yeah. Well, technically, Tom, tell everybody who you are and what makes you famous, man.
Who the heck am I?
Yeah.
I've been writing columns in Prescott for many years, mostly for the Daily Courier. This particular thing we're talking about today was not connected with the Courier. It was a project entirely on my own, which I do sometimes. Since it was Prescott election information, I just wanted to get every place that it could go. So I sent it to you, I sent it to anyone, and it actually has a header on it saying, use it, spread it around.
Mm-hmm.
I read it.
Yeah, I read it, and it was very informative. Let's just go ahead and get a brief rundown of what we actually read on this email. I don't know if you have it pulled up. I can pull it up right now.
So how much time did it take you to put this together?
A bunch.
That's what it looked like. There was a lot of effort and
there was some time from very helpful people gathering preliminary information, and then contacting and try to recontact and that kind of stuff to get the interviews with people and then compile it all together.
All right, so for everybody, just make sure we're on the same page. This is for the election cycle that's going on in Prescott. So we're talking mayor and city council members.
Yep. Yes. And so as we actually got the email in, I'll just go read the first paragraph or two, and then we can go ahead and move down the line as far as talking about Blair, Goody, Hall, Lamerson, Mangarelli, and Montoya, and Moore, and also Grant Cazetta. So let's just get into it. I mean, it needs to be said. We want to go ahead and make sure that we're transparent. We don't even know what to say about stuff at the same time when it comes to politics. So we're going to leave it to you to do this. But let me just read this. I reached out to all the Prescott City Council and mayor candidates to ask some questions, mostly about funding. These are about funding. These are questions I hadn't seen asked in quite the same way and reported on. So with that being said, let's just get into it. I don't know where you want to start with.
Well, let me expand on that as the piece does a little bit. Part of the reason it's worth doing this is because funding has been a question at times in the past. For the most part, funding for city council and mayor campaigns in the past has been very small scale, local people giving a little bit of money, and that's good. But two things. For one thing, it tells you something about who a person is or what they're likely to be about, depending on who's giving. And that does come out in financial reports later, but it's later.
Well, real quick on that, and I've noticed what you're saying. I've actually read some of the previous years fundraising. And Billy Orr actually raised the most amount of money.
She did a good job.
She raised a lot of money compared to everybody else.
Yes, she did.
It's like a different election.
Yes. Well, it depends on how competitive it is, whether there's mayor's part of the elections. Yeah, and some of the financial reports come up later, and sometimes the financial reports don't necessarily give you the whole story. If, for instance, an organization donates money to a candidate, but you don't know where that organization gets its money, or it's kind of hidden who it is, it just has a nice name, Citizens for Truth or something, but you don't know who that is or what their money is. So sometimes you need a little bit more information. Plus, a couple of election cycles ago, we did have what is the first, in my memory, of any dark money, outside money influencing the local races. There was an outfit out of Phoenix with funding that we don't know where the heck it came from. It was never revealed. That sent out mailers and did some other PR work, not for any particular candidate, but against certain candidates. And it was dark and ugly. It was the kind of stuff that makes you
So let's start. Define. I don't think people know.
Okay. Well, I meant it in two different ways.
Okay.
In this case, the mailer was very negative, dark images. That the kind of advertising you see when you think, oh, that was their whole intention was to send. But when I say dark money, what I mean is the citizens don't know. So they either the group gets money from donors who they don't return reveal, and they just say, this is Citizens for Free, whatever this name, but you don't know who's behind it. Lots of other games and ways that money can get to influencing elections, usually on a larger scale, but in this case, a couple of cycles ago, too. It influences the election without citizens knowing where the heck was this coming from? Who's behind this? So that's a dark moment. And that did happen. Groups. Would you take money from outside groups? Do you know of any independent groups that are going to be doing anything like that? Get them on record on that, even though it's just on the word, because hopefully you learn something, and if it turns out that's not the case, then we can go back next election and say, wait a minute, you said this and did that.
But people have short memories.
Well, that's what journalism is for.
Okay.
I don't want to interrupt you guys. Okay, I definitely heard you guys. We are definitely experiencing technical difficulties about the voice. The voice is muffled. I think what we need is a high D.
You need your mic.
Yeah, we need a mic set up. So sorry about that.
You
guys
can tell
are-
we're
you guys are on.
into the new gigs here. Yeah. So just speak louder. Okay.
All right, I will project. So I guess getting into what the results. So I contacted each of the candidates, and some of them multiple times to try to get the connection with them. Steve Blair did not respond at all, which is not surprising. That's kind of his mode. But then again, he's always run very low scale, small campaigns. There's probably nothing more than little donations there, because there's nothing more than little spending. So
I don't see his signs much anymore. I saw his truck driving down the road yesterday with his signs on. That's the first time.
I've seen a few signs, but
Okay.
that's it, not a lot. Yeah, you're right. So I was going through these in alphabetical orders with the way I put them in the piece. The next one was Phil Good. I was curious about, this is the first time he's running for mayor, where's his funding coming from? He said, let me summarize here. He said it was all small donations. He didn't think he knew everyone that donated. Some of the candidates do. They know everybody who's donated to him. Said he had gotten a couple of donations from, he's made this pledge that he's not going to accept any donations from developers or contractors. Just because he wanted that to be the impression of his campaign. So he said he got a couple of donations that were along those lines that he returned. No money from outside the area, other than a couple of family friends that live outside the area that send him small donations, and no awareness of any outside groups influencing his campaign or the campaign or anything like that. So that was him. Jessica Hall said her money came mostly from herself and some of her family, not a lot of fundraising. She pointed out that maybe the only big donation she'd gotten from otherwise was $2,000 from Dr. Ascari, who's a local personality, a doctor and a real estate developer. She did say, I was also asking him some related questions about a dark money item that may be on the November ballot.
And she said in particular, she wasn't so sure about that, but that as far as making everybody aware of where the money comes from, absolutely, for full disclosure, all details, every penny. Are we on better now?
I think so. I could actually hear it in my ear
All right.
now.
All right.
Hopefully that's better for you guys out
All right,
there.
new equipment comes tomorrow. I can't
Yeah,
promise.
no,
you.
it's actually so like soundproof in here. It's
Yeah.
actually literally soundproof in here. It's actually trying to pick up the
outside.
It's weird. I'm so sorry. Sorry, Tom. I know this is very important to us, and we are really wanting the information to get out to people. What we're going to do, we're actually going to distribute this to all who wants to know more about this.
Yeah, are you going to publish this?
Yeah, we will put it out
So
there.
you'll have a link on your site for it?
Yes, we'll go
Okay.
ahead and send it through to the.
Keep going.
HR.
I mean,
yeah.
you can hear you.
Yeah. I think we're good now. If you guys could go ahead and get me, much sounds better now. Okay,
Right,
cool.
go.
Thank you, Maria. Sorry, guys.
I'll try to summarize these. There's a lot more info in each of these sections per person, so you have to look at it if you want. Go to this website and find the link. Jim Lamerson, perennial politician and candidate, always a small scale campaign, small scale spending, and we talked, and he said, yeah, it was all small scale donors, that he pretty much knew them all. He had one business friend in San Diego who sent him a donation through his business, and he said he had to return it because it was complicated accepting a donation from a business. And he likewise, about people's right to know, or what he thinks is people's right to know about where the money comes from. It was that he felt the citizens of Prescott have a right to know where the heck the money comes from. It's not actually the way the law works, but that's his feeling about the right. Then we get to Greg Mangarelli. His campaign, after numerous attempts to try to talk with him, and I've talked to them before about other topics and for other pieces, but they did not want to talk to me about this. He had his spokesperson send me an email, a couple of emails back and forth, and they felt that the finance reports that are coming out ought to cover it. And I went back and said, well, that covers some, but there's other stuff that ought to be known, like this and that and the other, and contact me, I'm putting this piece together. They said no, they didn't want to do that. And it was true that I particularly wanted to know about his financing for two reasons, because it was back in his first election cycle that outside mailers and so forth happened. And because he's kind of, every time he's run, he makes this big splash, bigger than most local candidates do. Bigger signs, more TV advertising, all of that kind of stuff. It's out of scale for what's typical for Prescott. So it's a reasonable question. That's all fine. Where's it come from? And some of that will be revealed in the financial reports. But again, there are things that you might want to dig a little deeper on. Didn't get any answer from him for any of that. Mr. Montoya, let's see here. He said he knows each of his donors. They're all small donors. There's some family and family friends that have donated. He said he returned one donation he was uncomfortable accepting. He didn't go into exactly what that was. He has a financial consulting business. And so I wanted to know about, are anybody influential in Prescott politics, business with the city, people in the city, among his clients? And he said, no, he doesn't have any of those. And at this point, while he's going through the campaign, and if he gets on council, if any of those people wanted to use a service, he'd have to say, no, I can't, refer them to somebody else. Now, you had something you emailed me about.
Yes.
Montoya.
Yes. It was in regards to the actual event that is happening and being taken place in his honor, and he's the guest speaker of it. And I think that, let me just tell you what it is. And then I looked a little bit more to see exactly what the agency or even the people were, and it's the well, that's not it. We got like these email things going back and forth.
Yeah, too much activity there, right? Yeah.
AZ Roots,
Roots?
Yavapai County Democratic Party. It's in regards to the Prescott area move to amend event.
Right. And I did follow your link, and that gets right back to what we were talking about. So I don't know, a decade ago now or more, a Supreme Court decision had a big impact on this dark money thing. Prior to that, there was a lot more requirement for transparency in who's funding campaigns. That was taken to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, no, you can hide behind various charitable donation setups and so forth.
Like nonprofits?
Yeah, so there are ways that you can hide that you're donating money to this or that campaign or this or that political cause. And it's been since then that the funding from industry groups and various political groups of any kind have spent a lot more money that's been unaccounted for, that you don't know how much they're putting in or where it's going or anything like that. And the move to amend is about trying to get a constitutional amendment, which they feel is the only way to go, to reopen the transparency of where campaign money comes from. And it happens to be being put on by the Democratic Party together with Move to Amend. And I guess Montoya is going to be there to talk about his views on it.
So,
Yeah.
But all elections, city elections, are nonpartisan, right?
They are nonpartisan. People are parts of party. Well, actually, he's the only one who's actually registered as an independent. But they don't advertise what party they're in. They're not running as part of a party.
Got it. Okay.
They are independent elections. Right.
Cool. Well, you seeing any questions that are popping up?
I'm going to look in right now. It looks like everybody almost can hear us. I hope that we're still good out there. Anyways, the reason why we actually put this in place is, once again, it's the local politics, and it's a big story. These things right here. Everybody wants to know where is that money coming from, and who is actually doing the moving and pushing around our area. One of the things that I actually started noticing is the new information coming out. Like, for instance, Megarelli's new ad says the wrong choice, the right choice. And I don't know if you want to go into this, and as far as like insisted policy. Let me see. led council's successful resolution demanding resignation of David Stringer. Has lived, run business, and raised a family in Prescott for 26 years. Insisted police and fire be paid what they were earned. I guess the opponent, Phil Good, says wanted the city to declare bankruptcy rather than pay police and fire what they earned. Campaigned against Proposition 443 that would pay police and fire for protecting us. Voted no on the resolution for Rep. David Stringer to resign his position because of racist and bigoted remarks. Newcomer with no experience of raising a family or running a business in Prescott. Now, I don't know about you, man, but don't we have to live in the same city? This is kind of harsh. What do you think about these two statements or things side by side?
It is, and I think it's unfortunate. I don't want to go into who's a better candidate or what reasons. I'm focused on how do we get information out to people, but that gets to it. So traditionally in the local elections, it's just been about issues. What's your position on development? What's your position on water? What's your position on city budget? Stuff like that. This kind of attack ad, part of how I got my information together. There's a group, informal group that I like to refer to as the citizen investigators, who are just unpaid, concerned citizens who have experience working in either in government or in law or whatever, and know this stuff in much deeper detail than I could ever know it. And they know where to look to find the public records and so forth. And for instance, one of them who's been around town for a long time remembered that and went back and looked at that incident where Good supposedly said, no, let's bankrupt the city and not pay the police and the fire. No, what at that time, how to settle the big problematic debt of the police and fire pension was a heck of a problem that people were knocking around all kinds of ideas about how to deal with this.
And if I recall, am I right? It was a state issue. Like we weren't the only.
Right. Yes. Although we had our part of it because it's a state collection of different pieces. And what Good was saying was they were kind of settling on one tack he felt early before they had analyzed all the options. And basically what he was saying was, let's not throw out any option yet. Let's be more careful and do due diligence and analyze all the options to get this issue settled. And like often happens in politics, you cherry pick things and you throw them out and make them look bad for your opponent. And totally regardless of who's right or wrong for the city, it's just an ugly way to go out a campaign, and hasn't been traditional for Prescott, and I think it's unfortunate.
Yeah, you said that earlier this morning. I was like, it's kind of awkward to see that type of stuff,
Well,
and politics in general.
Maybe is Phil Good, is his council seat up for grabs this election?
Yes.
So if he loses, he's off the council too. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. This is a really huge conversation. We are so sorry that the audio was off. It was like literally, I called him up at 7:30 this morning and I said, Tom, can you come in? And, no matter what, we had troubles yesterday, but thank you guys for staying tuned. Who has been staying tuned. Let's go ahead and also talk a little bit about a couple of things. I mean, obviously, Phil has attacked Mayor Megarelli. I mean, to be in all honesty, when you see a character out on the streets, you always want that hometown feeling where you're always saying hello, you're always shaking hands and being good to people. And I actually see that in both of these men and actually everybody that's on the or running for council, but that's just kind of like the name of the game, unfortunately.
Sure.
But we would like to know answers, and we would like to go ahead and make sure that you are transparent. If you guys are running for the city council, whether it's the mayors, I would love for you guys to go ahead and join us so we could talk about this and just be transparent with us. That's what all we ask for. Is just...
And a quick note, a week from today is our grand opening here. And both Phil Good and Mayor Megarelli should both be here.
Cool.
So if you have questions for them, they should both be in the same spot.
While we're eating some good old, what do you call it?
Dippin' Dots?
Dippin' Dots.
Yeah, right.
Hey, mayors. We'll use those. We'll use those at a microphone. They'll probably work way better than what we did today. But no, it's a beautiful time to be alive, especially for the Prescott area. And as you said, this is something that has never really been a part of Prescott's political history. What do you think's changed?
I think, unfortunately, as it grows, not that growth is unfortunate, growth is kind of just part of life, but a side effect of growth is that it gets bigger. There gets to be more money on the line in business and development and so forth, and it gets to be more worthwhile for cliques to form that want to push their agenda and not always in straightforward ways. And I think that's the key thing is if you got an agenda, fine, just state it, put it out there, be who you are. And that's this citizen investigators group I was talking about. And we mentioned this on the phone when we were talking, is that, we our inclination is to just want to go along in our lives and enjoy life and do stuff and
live
and not have to worry about politics. But if we don't watch what people in influence, officials and other people of influence are doing and how they're doing it, it's kind of unfair to them. I always think of people who, you read stories about some accountant for some business who embezzled, and you think, well, who is supposed to be overseeing that? It's like leaving somebody who's on a diet alone with a cake. You need for their sake to have some oversight so they're not tempted to do something wrong. And that's what we citizens need to do for the officials is, what are they doing? How are they doing it? Are they doing it the right ways? If they're not, let's challenge them on it. Or if we got questions, let's ask them and keep them on their toes so they stay doing things the right way.
Right, and just a disclaimer, obviously you've been seeing it scrolling on the bottom. We definitely don't want to get into the political realm of things, but since it has to deal with Prescott, Arizona, we felt like it was our duty to do so. And I actually thought of why I'm doing it, and it was just because we want to see transparency. And he actually said it to me this morning, saying, well, if you say you're not going to go ahead and get involved, then that means that the parties or the candidates will just keep on doing what they're doing.
Eat all that cake.
And nobody eat all the cake and not, take care of the citizens like they're supposed to. In most cases, I think the biggest conversation right now is growth and water that is happening in our area.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's a good question to ask. We've seen some graphs where we're like, is this supposed to grow like that? It wasn't there some rules or something that says, hey, it's not supposed to grow that fast, but we are seeing a huge growth in not only Prescott, but Prescott Valley and
just the state of Arizona. We talk about it a lot. In school, they didn't teach us, they taught us about conservation and all this other stuff. Now all of a sudden it's like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't matter anymore. It's like, well, that's not what they taught us in grade school.
Yeah. I guess when money does come in, all things get thrown out.
Yeah, and it is often up to citizens. We have the Save the Dells group. Those were independent citizens who were just concerned about conserving area in the Dells. If none of those people had done that, everything would have gone through as first draft, which might not have been horrible, but it certainly wouldn't be as good as what it looks like we're going to end up with. CWAG, which is the water group, has a bunch of retired water experts, water engineers, and so forth. And much the city and regional water policy is based on studies they've done. There's a lot of expertise in the area that's not official, that's done a lot to help the area. And it's worth getting that stuff out there.
Is Phil Good a part of the SWAG? Is he sitting on the council?
I think a couple of them are. I think he is.
Yeah, most of them I think are part of CWAG because it's been the core thing. I have to look at.
Yeah, I think he is. I think Montoya is as well. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about some of the other candidates, but we've had conversations. They've been great enough to talk to us, and there's some smart people over there.
Yes.
Far smarter than we are. That's for sure. Yeah.
Well, without further ado, we don't want to keep your time because I know you're very busy at doing your day-to-day living, but at the same time, we will go ahead and release this information in regards to, what needs to be happening. Since you've been following it, the politics and just the city council for many years, you seem to know a lot. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your education. Thank you for being a part of our morning show in the last minute, and everybody that's out there that actually stayed through this crappy little thing that we have called microphone.
Yep.
Problem.
You look at that.
Eric's
I'm thinking of all the stuff we need to buy.
when we are done with this, it's gonna be amazing. You guys need to stay tuned. Make sure that you guys are a part of what the Prescott Times is doing, and we'll get everything dialed in like we had it before. And then we got disrupted, and we're like, hey, new place. Yep. So just like every time you move, you got to move everything around. So with that being said, we got to end this because we got things to do, and we didn't really get to any events or whatever, but make sure you follow the Prescott Times, go to the website, check out everything that's going on there, and we will be releasing his notes in order for us to go ahead and let you guys see what, I guess, the citizens see from a citizen's perspective, not the political side. Okay, with that being said, peace out. Peace, love, and happiness. Let it not be war. Remember, love always wins. In my ear, it sounds so crazy.